What's up, YouTube? CBuzz Sports Cards here. Today, we're going to talk about Michael Jordan cards. So, obviously, the Michael Jordan card market has exploded. It's been on quite the run the last few months, the last, 6 months, year especially. It's always been strong with moments of, rapid increases in price and then moments where it cools off. But yeah, the last year, especially, the Jordan market has been pretty wild. So I want to look at some of his cards. I've picked up some Jordan cards. I'm continuing to look at Jordan cards to pick up. So I want to show you guys some of the cards I picked up recently, pulled into my collection, and what my strategy and play is around some of those cards, as well as other cards I might be targeting, and some of the setbacks with getting into the Jordan market. So let's hop right into it and take a look. I'll start with showing you guys a few Jordan cards I just took in recently. First off, depending on when I post this, I'll have a NBA Hoops Jordan Hunt video. Kind of long. I opened 3 boxes of 1990 NBA Hoops to see how many Jordans I could pull. I just got done doing that. Now I'm going into recording this. And it's about $100 a box for a sealed box of 1990 NBA Hoops, 36 packs, 15 cards. Pulled quite a few Jordans. Not bad, right? Those. Pulled these. All-Star cards. And then we pulled a couple sort of inserts out of the Series 2 1990 Hoops checklist. So I don't know that these count for much. I haven't looked them up. Maybe. You never know. But a 1990 Jordan Hoops in PSA 10 sells for about $1,200. That was the last sale, last auction sale. I think in the last day or two. Trick with these is they're tough to grade. A lot of them are off center. A lot of the Jordans, what I'm finding when I open the boxes, I think most of the Jordans I found were right on top. And being the top card, they were a little more prone to corner bending or just little issues. But out of the cards I pulled, I think I did pull 1 or 2 copies that might get a PSA 10. So I've got one here that looks pretty good. Another one behind it, and a few others. So that's one of the things I'm doing. Finding old boxes of basketball wax that I can buy for $150. And when you got a whole box like that, the chances of finding 2-3 Jordans are pretty good. Sometimes you get unlucky and you pull only 1 Jordan, and other times you luck out and you pull 4 of them. So it just depends. But 2-3 per box on average is pretty common, pretty reasonable. Spend a little to potentially gain a lot. So I don't mind that. It's one of the things I've done. So you guys will see a video on that soon if it's not already posted. But then in terms of specific cards I've bought and that I've targeted, we'll go through some. So this is the Topps Chrome Jordan back-to-back. Cool insert. Just pull it out. I bought 2 of these. This is one of them. These grade really well. So I think I paid like $150 for this copy. Same on the other one. Great looking card, clean. And it's 1999. 1999 Topps Chrome. Back-to-back championships insert. And these graded in a 10, I think, sell for somewhere around $600. So let's see. Yeah, let's just pull it up. And I'll share my screen with you guys. So here we go. Oh, I've got to, let me go like this. Bear with me. There we go. So here we go. Here is the Jordan back-to-back. Let's pull up the listing. So the last 10 sold for $789. So they've gone up since I bought mine even. And they gem fairly decently. Looks like, I guess, a third of the time. So not super crazy. But, you know, when you're buying a copy that looks like it's in pretty good shape, I guess this one's a touch off center. So that one might have a tough time. But I'll be looking for more of these. Because at $150, when it grades a 9, I mean, you'll break even, make your money back. So it looks like the 9s are selling for 200. Maybe I spent less. I don't know. What did I spend on this copy? That one I paid $164, so I probably overpaid a little bit on that one. I have another one. This one I paid $124. The other one I bought, which isn't down here, I paid $164. The other one is highly likely to gem, I think, at a 10. So these are some of my Jordan purchases here. A couple jerseys, gotta have those. So we'll go through those. So I want to show you guys a few different things. And I want to show you guys some of the setbacks with getting into the market, the Jordan market. So I want to pull up these gold medallions. So I just bought 3 of these. Seller sold them in a threesome. About $1,750 I paid. Kind of worked out because I've been looking for this card in a nice copy. I saw one in Chicago this last spring. Loved the card. Thought it looked really cool. It's a 96 Fleer Ultra gold medallion. And so I started looking around on eBay and other places to see if I could find a good copy. It's tough. It's tough to find a good copy. They're hard to grade too. So something like this, I bought it. You know, I'm hoping I can grade a PSA 8 on it. And at the price I bought these, if I grade 7, 8, and 9 in that order, I'm going to be sitting pretty nice in terms of the price I paid versus the value of the cards, right? So let's just take a look at some of these cards. And that's one of the things I like to do is I like to buy cards raw that I can grade, right? To me, that's the easiest way to make money. I don't do a lot of card shows. I mean, I'll do a card show here and there. I wanted to go to the National, but I had other stuff come up. I couldn't make it down there. I wanted to get down there, buy some cards, sell some, flip, do some whatever, meet some people, do some deals. I've got young kids and a wife. We've got other things, and it wasn't in the cards. We actually were on the way, and then something came up, and we had to turn around right after we left. So we're in Minneapolis, so Chicago's it's a 5-6 hour drive. But yeah, wanted to go down there for a day or two, next year. But we get local card shops or card shows and whatnot. But my thing is, I try to find the right cards to grade. I try to buy them in the right condition for a reasonable price where, you can get copies that have a decent likelihood of grading well or grading 10. And then if they do, you've got really nice high upside. That's my number one play, or sort of my personal strategy in cards. I'm obviously not the only one who does that. There's tons of people, but everyone has different things they like to do. Everyone's got different things they look for, whether it's, just buying and flipping or long-term holds or short-term or, undervalued players or whatever. There's all sorts of different things, but my main strategy is to buy raw, grade it, and then either hold on and have a lot of value built in, or at that point, sell it and then take the money and then go into go into different cards from there. With Jordan stuff, now it's a little harder to do. And that's why I want to talk about this. So we'll take a card like this, for example. So you got the gold medallion. A lot of these cards, very hard to find in good condition, very hard to grade. Like this copy here, it's not going to get a 10, right? To find a raw 96 gold medallion that's going to grade 10. I don't even know. I mean, it would be very difficult, if not impossible at this point. Just the way they were made, the edges, and then the age of the cards at this point, it's just a tough thing to ask for, to find, right? So looking at these, let's look at the pop. So there's 1,300 of them in total. Of the 1,300, less, what is it like? So 10% would be 134. So like 2% will grade a 10, right? That's how hard it is to get one of these in a 10, right? There's 26 of them, right? Looking at prices, I don't even know what a 10 would sell for. I'm sure it'd be quite a bit. A 9 last sold for $3,000. The 8s last sold for $940. And then a 7 last sold for $500, right? So if I can get a 7 on this, I'm counting on the card price going up as well by the time I get this graded and going into the winter. So if it grades a 7, I'm kind of figuring I'm going to have a $600 card, right? Or maybe I take a closer look and I really decide, should I resell it raw? And will I get more for it raw? Or do I try to grade it and do it that way? So that's something I'm going to decide. I don't know where I'm at. But one of the reasons I bought these 3 cards together is this is a pretty big card right here. So that's the 97 gold medallion. Now, if this hits an 8, I'll have a $900, $1,000 card. And I paid $1,750 after sales and shipping for all 3. I mean, I'm going to be sitting really good, right? Even at a 7, if I've got a $600 card, I've got to make up $1,100 between these 2, right? But out of these 3, this is the big ticket. This one is the smallest of the 3, but this is the big one. So let's go back to Jordan Gold Medallion. So here you go, 97 Gold Medallion, and the copy I've got here, just show you guys. It's a great copy. I mean, it's in very, very good condition. The corners look really, really crisp. I mean, the surface looks good. The edges look good. And it's got kind of a textured finish. Let me just take it out so we can take it closer. So let me get there we go. So it's got a little bit of a texture to the finish. But I mean, look at that. Look at the sheen. It's a really nice copy. The edges are good. It's got that bumpy top finish, so depending on when you look at the edge from the side, it might look rough, but it's not. They're great. Very good. The back, the sides. I mean, this is a really good copy. I'm hesitant to say it would grade a 10 because I don't want to get my hopes up. It's an old card, right? But this thing here, I'm thinking realistically an 8 or a 9, right? And I think there's a realistic chance it could grade a 10. It's just a great copy. So let's look at the pricing on these. And this is the card that makes the deal, in my opinion. So a PSA 9 last sold for $2,250. $2,350. An 8 sold for $1,175. Now, in my opinion, I think I should be able to get an 8 on this minimum. I'm thinking 8, maybe 9. I'd love to get a 10. I don't think that's going to happen. Would love to. If it did, amazing. A fantastic deal. Last 10 sold for 13.5. Now, looking at the pop report, there's 1,200 of these. These grade a little easier than the 96 gold medallion right here. So this one grades easier than this, but this one is still no easy grade at a 10, right? Most of them are 8s and 9s. There's only 66 10s, so you've got about 5% of them graded 10, right? So, however, in an 8, it last sold for $11.75. So you got, call it 1,200. If I grade an 8 on this, you got 1,200. If I grade a 7 on this, call it 600, that's 1,800. Right there, I'm break even on those two. If I hit a 9 on this one, I'm deep in the green already, right? And then I've got a third card left, right? We've got the 98 gold medallion. This is an easier grade. It's a nice copy. I mean, this copy, I'm thinking grades a 9, maybe a 10. It's just an easier card to grade, but it's, you know, really, really nice copy. Surface looks really good. Edges look good. Corners look good. Centering, you know, it looks good. I mean, I don't know exactly how you tell on this one because it's not a symmetrical card, so, but it looks good. And then you look at the back, same thing. I mean, it just looks like a really good copy of this card. Let me show you guys a little more close up. So the 98 gold medallion. It's got that sparkly sort of gold black finish. Really cool card. So I felt that all three of these at that price, you know, is it the steal of a century? No. But I mean, solid deal, right? I'm happy to pick all three of these up at the same time. The seller was a nice guy. Took care of these cards. And let's just look at this third one now on eBay. So we should run into one here in a second under gold medallions. Here we go. So these sell for the least of the three. So even this one, the last PSA 10, sold for $4,000. I don't know that this will get a 10. I mean, it's possible. It's an older card, so I just figure they're going to give it a tougher time. I don't see any obvious flaws with this, but again, I just don't want to get my hopes too high. I'm kind of just thinking, you know, maybe a 9. This is what I'm thinking. If it hits a 9, last 9 sold for $750, right? So at sort of conservative estimates, right, we got, call it 600. I'm just going to call this 800 because by the time I grade these and get stuff done, I mean, I'm sure the Jordan market will be, you know, we're talking 800. The last card sold for 755. So, you know, I'm not adding much of an increase in, less than $50. So you got 600, 800, that's 14. And then this card here in an 8 sold for, I believe it was 11, call it 1,200. So you've got 14, what did I say, 7? Yeah, call it 14, $2,600 for these three, right? And that's if it grades 7, 8, 9. If this one hits an 8 or this one hits a 9, or this one hits a 10, we're deep in the money at that point. And if they hit my conservative estimate grades of 7, 8, 9, I'm about 1,000 up on those three. And the cool thing is I've got value built in. 3 great Jordan cards that are just gonna continue to go up. You know, whether they go up like a rocket ship or not, that's a whole different story. Nothing goes up in a straight line. We know that. But three great pickups, right? And this is where I've had a different time, or a more difficult time finding Jordan cards to get into, right? So other cards, I like the Warp Speed, the High Voltage, um, what else? I mean, there's all sorts of them. Beam Team. And the problem with a lot of these is it's tough to find a good copy that is going to grade well. A lot of the raw Jordans at this point, they're old, they've been handled, they've been traded around, and there's not enough photos in the sales listing. So, like, let's see, something like this. Just use it as an example. DC Sports Cards, I've bought stuff from these guys. They've been pretty good. They list everything in excellent. I don't think they list anything in near mint. I think that's just the way they do it, just to kind of build in a little bit of, sort of safety for themselves. They don't want to overlist the item and then have, they sell so many things that when you're selling, thousands of cards all the time, you get nitpickers, and then someone comes and says, hey, there's a surface scratch on this. You listed it as near mint, and then they have a problem, and someone that wants to return a card. So they list everything in excellent, which according to eBay could have visible signs of wear, moderate edge shipping, surface scuffing, fuzzy corners, right? Now, I've bought cards from these guys where I've looked at the pictures and gotten great cards that have graded out at 10, and they've been listed as excellent. They show up and they're perfect. So, I don't know. They do a good job as far as my experience with them. But let's look at this card here. Right now, it ends in 22 hours. It'll be interesting to see what this goes for. Great raw copies have been going for $9.35. I am imagining that this card is going to go up in price significantly tomorrow night before this auction ends. And that's the problem I've had with the Jordan stuff. I've tried to bid on it, and I just always get outbid right at the end. And I'm not willing to go too high because you don't know. Like, so let's look here. You need this card. Okay, at 8. 8s are now selling for $2,000. I mean, I was looking at these. I mean, they've gone up like crazy. I remember before July 4th, I was looking at these, and they were selling for $1,100-$1,200 in an 8. Now they're going to almost $2,000. So I mean, we'll see where this thing goes by tomorrow. But like here, there's a surface scratch there. I don't know if that's on the case or if it's on the card, but I've seen some of these cards where there are surface scratches. Look on the back, now this one's not too bad. It's a black card. There's definitely corner wear. Corner wear down there. So, with what I'm seeing on the card, I would think the highest this might grade is 8. I'm looking at this card, and I'm thinking a 7 or an 8 in my mind, right? And if it's going to grade an 8, I mean, the price has gone up. I don't know how long these prices stay, if there's going to be some pullback, or at least a cooling off period where these things flatten out. But, to me, to get into this card safely, you've got to get into it at, I don't know, $1,000 max. But the problem is tomorrow you might have these guys that bid this thing up to $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. And then after tax, tax and shipping, you need it to grade an 8 just to break even, because you've got $1,500, $1,600 into the card, right? So this is the problem with a lot of this Jordan stuff. Let's pull up a different card. These are cool. The Enfuego, I think these look awesome. I'd love to get one of these. Now, it's tough to find these raw where they're going to grade well. Like this one, it's off center, clearly. This is a great copy, but let's take a look at it. Looks like a great copy. Now, there's only 2 pictures, so the problem is, how great is it? Because it's in a case, I can see some rounding on the corner. like excessive rounding on that corner. Definitely a little bit on that one. Can't quite tell up there. I mean, the front looks centered pretty well, but I mean, it's in a case. It's not the best photos, right? 1,900 bucks. Well, the last 9 sold for 1750. So you have to buy this card, and basically it has to grade a 9. And if it does, you're already underwater on the card because it didn't grade a 10. And it's not going to grade a 10. This card here will not hit a 10. No, sorry. So I don't know what the guy, you're not going to sell this at 1,900 bucks, at least not today. Maybe in a couple months, who knows? I'll be eating my words. But, you could shoot the guy an offer. But look, I mean, so far apart, I'd want to buy that card for maybe $1,000, maybe. But it's like, I'm looking at that thinking it's probably going to grade an 8, right? And at that point, the last 8 sold for $815. So really, I'd want to be buying that card at like 500. And he's got it listed for 19. Yeah, no thanks. Not interested. Here's a different example, but it's going to be more of the same story, right? So this is the thing I'm trying to point out of why it's hard right now to get into Michael Jordan stuff, especially if you're getting into it raw. Everyone's trying to charge an arm and a leg, and then on some of these auctions, people are paying. They're just overpaying. Like here's a card that's 1,000. I mean, pictures there look pretty good. I've seen some cards where there's like a seam in this area, where I don't know if like the foil comes together and the card dries out. That one looks pretty good. I mean, it looks really nice to me from the front. And then you got the back, and it looks like a little rough there, but I think it's just because of the texture on the top. Because there's sort of a textured finish on the top, so I think you're seeing just some of that from when it was cut right there. So this actually looks like a really nice example. Seller's got listed as excellent. He's got some experience. So this card, but let's see. Last 9, 1750, 8.5. I mean, the same thing though. You're taking a chance, and you need this card to grade 9. If it grades an 8, you're already underwater on it, right? And when it's a card it's 30 years old at this point, so old cards are just it's not like a brand new card that just came out of a pack 2 months ago. You're grading it and it's fresh. No, these things, I mean, there's been humidity, weather, they've dried out, they've gotten humid. So you might have surface bubbling, maybe there's been UV exposure, whatever. There's just things, right? It's an old card and it's not graded. So to get this and think that this is going to hit a 10 is unlikely. Like, to me, that's just super unlikely. A 9, I think you're taking a chance, right? And these are a tough grade, it looks like, anyway. 2,800 total, 300 of those. So about a little over 10% of them grade a 10. So it's a 1 in 10, little over 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 9 grade a PSA 10. It's not a high gem rate, right? Pretty low, pretty tough to grade, which is why the 10s are so high, right? Last 10 sold for 5,500. So these are the challenges for me as I'm looking at getting deeper into the Jordan market. I'll show you guys a move I did make. There's a card I really like. It's the Beam Team. Probably one of my favorite Jordan inserts. I think they look great. I like the lasers on the side. This to me is just a card that was ahead of its time, right? This is 1992 Stadium Club. Just a super cool looking card. I mean, the Beam team, it's just, I don't know. I think it's great. It's iconic. One of the first, like, Michael Jordan inserts that's truly, a really cool insert, right? I mean, to me, this card sort of kicked off an entire trend, really. Um, and yeah, so I bought this. I found one raw. And these are a little tricky because the centering on these is tough. So this is a pretty good copy. It was listed in near mint. Seller, after I bought it, it got authenticated through eBay by PSA. So they do a good job. I'll tell you this, I've had some cards listed as near mint that I bought. It's gone to eBay PSA authentication. I had one Michael Jordan and I had a Wemby. Two separate cards. They were listed in near mint, and a lot of these sellers, they only use two pictures. And PSA got the card. They sent me a message and said, hey, we found a couple issues with the card. This one's got a dent. This other one here's got a ding. Two separate occasions. They asked me, hey, do you still want the card because it was listed in near mint condition? I said, no, if it was listed in near mint, I don't want dings and dents. That's why it's not what I bought. It's not what I wanted. So I got to send the cards back. So I will say I appreciate that, right? Because it eliminates a whole thing where stuff gets weird and all of a sudden you have this card and the seller's got his money and then wants to sit and fight with you about returns, and it's like, dude, you didn't describe this stuff on the card. So it'd be a whole BS situation, and it eliminates that. So I like that, right? But anyway, this card passed near mint inspection. It got sent to me. I've looked at it. It's it's a great card. It's in great shape. But it's an old card. This is a 34-year-old card. So I bought it hoping that I can grade 7 or 8. If I get lucky, 8 or 9. I don't think it's going to grade a 10. I didn't buy it thinking it would grade 10. It's just too much to ask. If you get lucky on something like that, great. But to expect that, it'd be crazy on my part to expect that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll be sending this off pretty soon. But let's take a look at the Beam teams. Here we go. Beam team. Couple different versions. You got the 92 and the 93. Let's just click on this one. So I paid $1,500, I think, for this card, which at the time, this is a month or two ago. Let's go to my purchases. Yeah, $1,540 at the time. That felt like I was overpaying, right? Yeah, here's my purchase right here, $1,540.91. Let me show you guys right there. So just got it in delivery a couple weeks ago. So at the time, like I said, bought it raw for $1,500. Now, let's see what they're going for. And I'm hoping a grade 7 or 8, right? 7s right now are selling for about $1,500-$1,600, right? The 8s looks like 24. 9s, those are going to be probably 4,000, 4,500. And then the 10s are going to be crazy. I don't even know. I think they're like 10, 12, 13,000. Pop report on these, not the rarest card, 4,500 of these, but of the 4,500, only 111 have graded PSA 10. So a really tough card to gem. Let's see, 10% would be 450. You're at about a 2% gem rating on this, right? 111 10s out of 4,500 graded. So pretty tough. So I'm under no illusion that this is going to grade 10. I can tell that my copy is a little bit off center. I knew that when I bought it. a little wider on the top over there than over here. But I bought the best raw example I could find, and I paid a little extra for it at that time, just because I wanted one that I could get engraved and hopefully get a little bit of value built into. I figure, hey, if I get lucky and get a great copy, maybe it'll grade a 9, and minimum I should be at 7, and I'm hoping to get at least an 8, right? And so if that happens, if I get my 8 minimum, I'm going to be at 2,400. So I'll have, almost $1,000 of value built into it by the time I grade it and get it back. This is something I'll probably send off soon. But yeah, I don't know what level of service I'll do. $80. I don't know if I want to wait 60 days or 80 days or whatever it is right now, but I don't know. We'll see. I got some Jordans to send off. So anyway, this is kind of a cool play, but it's tough right now to find good Beam Team copies raw. A lot of this stuff, it's getting bought up and graded. Here's a copy here. Look, near mint, looks pretty good. Off center, look at the top corners. This is wider over here. The corners look good. But look, it's at 510. This ends in 5 days. So it'll be interesting to see how high this goes. Might keep an eye on this one. If it gets above 1,600, it's hard to, anything below there, I think it'd probably be worth pulling the trigger on. I'd want to take a closer look at it. At least the guy's got a bunch of pictures, so, he did a good job on that. But yeah, otherwise it's tough to come by good raw copies of these. I mean, here's one. Look, $1,500. It's going to be the same thing. Most all of them are a little off center on the top. This one's no different. Near mint condition, but look, this guy's got 4. He's got 4. A seller rating of 4 positive sales. So, a guy with like no seller experience listing a card in near mint to me means it doesn't mean much, right? Like he doesn't have enough transaction history for his opinion to count, right? And he's got 3 pictures, and all the pictures are in a top loader, so you can't even really get a good look at the card. You don't know what the surface looks like. I wouldn't be super excited about buying this. I mean, it looks fine, but the picture is blurry. I mean, the back looks good, I guess. Front looks good, but this is kind of scary to me because you get a card and there might be surface scratches and all sorts of other things going on with this card. I don't know, or it might be great. You just don't know. That's the problem. It's you're taking a little bit of a gamble on an unknown seller, not great photos, already high price. This ends in 13 and a half hours. I won't be surprised if this card sells for a couple $1,000 by the time this is over. I think it'll go up a little bit. And yeah, at that point, when you get that card, it better grade an 8 or a 9. Couple other ones. We'll look at a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. So we kind of talked about the Beam teams. Some cards I'd love to get. I'd love to pull the trigger on a Michael Jordan auto of some sort at some point. Those have gone nuts the last couple months. Here's one. I don't have it downstairs with me here, but I picked up in Chicago a few months back, a Jordan Slick Silver from the 1995 metal set. I just thought it was a cool card. With a lot of this Jordan stuff, my plan isn't to flip it. It's too hard, right? It's too hard to buy the stuff raw, get it at a good price, have massive upside. A lot of the really good copies are already taken and graded. So you're not going to find many tens. Definitely, you're not going to find many or any of the really, really sought after cards. It's just the prices get too nuts and the cards are too old. So my stuff with Jordan, I like Jordan. I'm a huge Jordan fan. This is stuff I like to collect. So to me, this stuff is more of a long-term hold. So I've got no problem hanging on to it. I'm not buying this stuff to flip. I'll grade and flip stuff like this that I pull out of boxes. But yeah, like the Slick Silver here, I just pulled it up on the screen. I picked up a PSA 9. I think these are cool cards. They're like a clear acetate. Some of them you got to be careful. They do yellow a little bit. Like this one here on the top is yellowed pretty significantly. The copy I have is pretty good. It's nice and clear. So I like the card. It's pretty neat. Just a cool mid-90s. I mean, screams 90s. You've got like 4 or 5 different versions of Jordan on the card. Like a Jordan Trail. And since I picked this up, I bought it for, I think, $800 at Tom Brady Card Vault in Chicago. And I found, like, I go to the one at the Mall of America in Minnesota, been to the one in Chicago. They seem reasonable on their pricing. Like, I've had good experiences at those shops. I think whatever he's doing with his shops, I like what they're up to. Nice guys that work there for the most part. And good reasonable prices. A lot of other shops I've been to try to gouge, and there I've found some deals at different times. I found stuff below market. I think they're corporate, so they might be a little slower to react to certain price increases at times. And they price their unopened and sealed boxes fairly, so I appreciate that too. And they're probably able to, because let's face it, they get better access to tops and, with whatever deals they have in place. But it's just nice that they don't, buy the stuff at dirt cheap and then gouge everybody, like they sell the mega boxes at regular price, blaster boxes, regular price. Where everyone else will be selling a blaster box of Topps Chrome Football for $90, they'll be at 40, which is what it should be. But then they'll limit people and say, hey, you only get to buy 1 or 2. Look, I appreciate that. Thank you. Doing the right thing. But anyway, this card in a 9, I picked it up, just a few months back. And looks like, let's see, this guy wants $1,500 for his, but where'd the last 9 sell for? Yeah, they're not up there yet. Last 9s, they bounce around between $750 and $900. So it doesn't look like anybody's paid a lot more than that, but we'll see. I think the prices on these might rise a little bit as with all the other Jordan stuff. I paid $800 for my copy, so looks like it's worth about the same. The trick with these, like I say, they're clear. So with mine, I like to keep a white sheet of paper behind the PSA holder, so that way you can see that the image pops a little bit better. Yeah, mine's right up here, actually. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to leave it in. I'm not going to take it out right now, but there's mine up there. That's where it is. So these are cool. One of my favorite Jordan inserts is the high voltage. I would love to pick one of these up. I think they're cool, like really cool looking mid-90s insert. So, one of the other plays I'm looking to do on some of these, I just like to avoid paying full sticker or, paying an excessive price, especially when the market's rising. So it's like, yeah, I could buy a PSA 8, 9s I think are getting a little spendy on these. But like, here's a Beckett 8.5, ends tomorrow. This thing might go for $3,000-$4,000, and this could be a candidate maybe for a cross grade, right? Centering's 9.5, edges 9, corners 9, surface 8. So would it grade a PSA 9? Maybe. You might be able to get a PSA 9 on this. Maybe. It's a little bit of a risk, that's for sure. But yeah, the last PSA 9 sold for $8,900. So if you did pull off the cross grade, it'd be pretty nice. And then a PSA 8, so the last one sold for $3,750. You've got two of them. So I'll be curious to see. It's in the Beckett holder, so I think it'll probably go for a little less. Like, that'd be a card I'd be happy pulling the trigger at $3,000. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to place a bid for this one and put it at $3,250. That'll be my bid. I've wanted to pick one of these up, so we'll see. Looks like I'm in the lead for now, but we got a little ways to go. I won't be surprised if I get outbid. If I get it at that price, I'll be happy. I'm not going to go higher. But if I get it, I'll probably cross grade it. If I get a PSA 8, I'll be a little bit in the money. I have a little value built in at $3,800. And if I got lucky and pulled off the PSA 9, then there's pretty significant upside. And I think the $3,250 I bid, I think we're in the right ballpark here for this Beckett 8.5. We'll see. Maybe I'll be low and I won't get it. But I've been keeping my eye on some of these, so I've watched them. There's a 9 there. Just a cool card. And that's it. You don't see... Okay, there's a couple more. Here's a Ra. I've looked at this one. It's probably a 5 or 6 if you grade it. There's some issues on the top. Other than that, the card looks good, but yeah, there's some scraping or something going on the top, so it's not a copy I personally want. I don't know where it's going to grade. Like right here, here's a nice Beckett 8.5. This has been for sale. It's in Australia. I've looked at this. It's been around for like 3, 4, or 5 weeks, maybe longer. That's when I noticed it, probably 2, 3 weeks ago. In this one, you've got a 10 on the centering, 9 on the edges, corners and surface 8.5. And so I was looking at this and I thought, this might be a candidate to cross grade. You know, I don't know. But I just get worried with the corners because I think PSA is a little tougher on corners sometimes, where these say 8.5. But looking at this corner right here, it's not the best picture. I don't know how well you guys can see that. I mean, the corner looks rough. So I just get worried that a card like that, you're not going to hit the PSA 9. You're probably going PSA 8 or maybe even a 7. And if you go down to 7, then you're kind of in a spot. You can always keep it in the BGS holder, of course, and then just ride the price up, because I think it's a reasonable price for what he's looking for. The other issue, though, it's in Australia, so there might be some import or, you know, taxes and duties or whatever, import fees. I don't like to deal with that. It'll take a little while to get, potentially. So I don't know. I don't like to mess with that stuff. Sometimes it goes super smooth and easy. Other times it's a huge pain in the butt. These are really cool. The high voltage, numbered to 500. Those go for big money. Cool looking card. 9.5. That's one. Maybe you could cross that into PSA into a 10. I don't know. Hard to say. You know, you're taking a risk at that point. Do you just leave it in the BGS at 9.5? I don't know. But that one I probably would. I don't know how tough PSA gets on the surface. I think with certain things Beckett is stricter, and certain things are a little more lenient on. And vice versa with PSA. So, you know, something like the surface, it depends what the issue is with the surface. You know, if you're just talking like small little bumps and things like this in the finish, I wouldn't be as worried about it. But if it's like a scratch, you know, or print line or things like this, then PSA is, you know, they are a little... They'll call stuff like that out, that's for sure. So it's the high voltage. One of my Grail cards that I would really like to get for Michael Jordan. The Beam Team, for me, was one. The other one is the East West. I would love one of these cards. I'd like to pick one up soon. I think they're just going to continue to go up. I think it's like the perfect card. You're getting Michael, you're getting Kobe. These are awesome. I mean, depending on how you feel, you could flip it around, display Michael the next day, flip it around, put Kobe out. I mean, it's 2 for 1. Just a cool looking card. Value on these has gone up. I think it's going to continue to go up. I just do. Just because you got two greats on the same card in, vintage, classic, late 90s basketball insert. The refractors are especially awesome. They just pop. They've got a great shine to them. They're also expensive. I mean, here you go, PSA Vault. Someone's got this listed at 9 for about 20 grand. Let's look at these are not super high pop. I mean, there's 418, so they're not like super rare, but they're definitely not super high pop. They're not like low numbered to 5 or anything like that, but for a late 90s insert, they're a little scarce. And part of the reason is there's a lot of people want them. I mean, who wouldn't want one of these? If you're a card collector, I think, especially basketball, Jordan, that stuff, I think this would be on everybody's list. But then they have the non-refractor versions. So here's a 10 in just the standard version, non-refractor. Still getting up there. They're steep. And last one sold for $9,400. Back in the spring, these were at 58. So, they've almost doubled, not quite, but I think they'll be there soon. It's a little overpriced there, a little overzealous, but right there you got a PSA 10. This is cool because it's in the PSA vault. Like, this would be worth pulling the trigger on. Because since it's in the PSA vault, you can buy this if you have a PSA account, and then you can just transfer it right into your own PSA vault, right? So, and the beauty of that, you don't pay any sales tax. I just did this recently with the Tom Brady Kaboom. Bought it, transferred it to myself. It showed up in my vaults. I think they say within 24 hours. Mine was there almost instantly. The next day, I decided to pull it out, ship it home, and that's what I did. And you don't have to pay sales tax, so that's the big saver. So a card like this, you can actually, like this card, I'm sure it's going to go up. Like, I would be happy to buy this, and I don't believe that it's going to go down much. Let's put it that way. In the next few months or year, and over the next year, 2 years, I'm sure it'll probably increase. But to me, it'd be a safe spot to have some money parked. So guess what? With this play, buy it at this price, transfer it to yourself in the PSA vault. Don't pay any sales tax, right? So you get it for $9,995. Because the sales tax is the killer on a lot of card deals, right? Like if you're buying, like I buy a lot of stuff on eBay. It's just a great spot to source stuff. And, but you, after the sales tax, that eats into your profit, right? That's why I like to buy stuff that I can grade, because, if I buy something for, say, $500, but I grade it and then I can sell it for $1,500, well, the $50 I paid in sales tax isn't that big of a deal, right? But something like this, where it's already graded, you don't have a way to make that value up. So anyway, buy it through the PSA vault, transfer it to yourself, leave it in there. I don't like to leave, I want the card. I want it at my house. I want it with me. And then, if I want to sell it in a year or two, if my plan was to sell it short term, fine, I'll just leave it in there, right? Why bother shipping it to my house? But I want to see the card. I'm not going to sell it right away. So I would ship it to myself, and then at the point in which I'm ready to sell it, Then I'll ship it back to the PSA Vault, let them list it for me through eBay, and then the nice part is you pay a 7% seller's fee. It's all inclusive. That's for everything. 7% instead of like eBay, you pay 13% normally with a regular seller account and seller's fee. But if you do it through the PSA Vault, 7%. So I'll take that. I'll save half on my seller's fee, no problem. You don't have to tell me twice. Easy, right? And then the nice part is they'll take care of the shipping and customer back and forth and any of that stuff if there's any issues. So, I sell cards and ship them. I don't really have an issue with that stuff. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind putting something in the mail and packing it up. Not a big deal. But it's nice to know they'll take care of the problem if something arises. But I think that's the play with some of this other stuff. Save the taxes, get the seller fee halfway down. So a card like this, you buy it for just below 10K now, and maybe it rises to 13, 14, 15, in the next few months, next year, whenever, and you got a nice little $5,000 profit for yourself. Sell it to the PSA Vault, and 7% of that, you're $800, give or take, $800. So your 5,000 minus 8, $4,200 profit. So I don't know. It sounds like a pretty good win to me. That might be it, guys. I think that's going to be the last card. I don't want to drag this on too long. I mean, I went for a while. Let me know if you guys want more of these. I like to go into some of this stuff. I'm trying to do some other videos where it's not just ripping cards. There's more, obviously, to the hobby than just ripping boxes open. And look, I love to rip boxes open and check new products out and that kind of stuff. But I plan on doing a lot more content in the future like this, where we'll talk about certain players' cards, whether it's Tom Brady, Jordan, Ohtani, Curry, Messi, whatever, just different topics, and, certain plays and strategies around different cards that I might be looking to target or acquire, or different parts of the market that have gotten hot. So if you guys like this stuff, let me know. I'm trying to get all this YouTube stuff figured out, equipment, content, this and that. So I'll keep trying to level it up and keep making videos. And otherwise, in the meantime, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you think. If I suck, just tell me I suck. That's fine too. I can take that. So, all right, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up. In the meantime, keep ripping, keep chasing. CBuzz Sports Cards. See you next time. Later, guys. Bye-bye.